And welcome to Hero Power. I'm your host, Avanties, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Zerotio.
What is up, gang? How is everybody doing? How are you doing, Avantis?
I'm doing well. Had a good week. Wasn't quite as busy at my day job, and that allowed me to play a little more Hearthstone than I would normally do in a week. So I've been playing. Trying multiple different decks and seeing what I like. I landed on a Druid deck that I played quite a bit. Sent you a list earlier this week, and
Yeah.
I know you played it to like a 5-1, and then as Man at Arms is wont to do, go, hold on just 1 second. I think I have a little bit better list for you. And,
Yeah, and it was. It's a list we really like, and there's specific reasons why it's good, specifically on the ladder. But again, we'll talk about that when we get into
because we are going to play
portion.
play this deck on the show tonight. But how was your week?
It was good. As I talked about last week, I kind of went like full on Hearthstone the first week. I think I played almost right around 500 games in the first week of set release. So I kind of pulled back a bit. I may have played about 100 games of Hearthstone this week, which is, I mean, still a lot, but for me, it's kind of pulling back
I went
more.
from playing like 5 games a week to playing 25 games a week, and you're over here talking about going from 500 to 100.
Yeah, I mean, I tend to play 30 to 35 hours of Hearthstone a week, so that's my normal. And this past week, the first week was even more. But we have THL coming up next Monday. If you're listening to this on a download, it's the following Monday on the 24th, I think it is. So I'm kind of getting ready to go, full on Hearthstone to test decks, both for standard and wild. And I need to work on my wild rank as well. So I've had a little frustration on standard because I normally don't push for a high legend, but I kind of want to hit 11x. It's like a little carrot on the stick that's there for me, and I'm within grasp of it now. You want to hit around that 1500 legend mark, and I've gotten up close to there. Then I've fallen back down to like 4,000, and I've gotten back up to like 2,500, and then I've fallen back down to 4,000. So it's still early in the month, so I'm kind of just simmering on my rank, trying to make sure I don't lose too much to decay, and then leave it around the 3,000, and hopefully I can make a final push. So that's where I'm at now with Hearthstone. Other than that, I've been playing a lot of non-Blizzard games. Been playing a lot of Fall Guys.
Yeah, you and like 90% of my gaming friends list. This game, for me, pretty much came out of nowhere, and everybody's playing it.
Yeah, I found out that it was out there, and then I guess PlayStation Network gave it for free for a weekend, and everybody started going nuts over it and going, hey, what is this game? And then found it on Steam for $19.99. Everybody's bought it. The reason I like it is it's just, and I know this isn't a Fall Guys podcast, but just a little off tangent, it's just mindless fun. It's not super competitive. It's not like ranked system. It's something I could do while watching Netflix. It's just mindless.
Yeah. So my son bought it, or actually, you bought it for my son. He was very appreciative and surprised, and he's been playing the heck out of it. And I watched him play some games, and it reminds me a lot of Mario Party. It's a lot of little mini games, and that you start with like 60 players and you weed your way down to one. So unlike Mario Party where you only hate the people that are playing with you in the room, here you hate 59 other strangers on the internet. So
yeah, I mean, those people aren't bad, but like there's a grab function where you can grab other players, and most people don't use it unless you have to, and some people just, they will not qualify for the round just so they can ruin the day of other people. So we call them griefers. But to me, it reminds me of like a video game version of the hit TV game show Wipeout.
Ah, yeah.
Where you're running across obstacles and you're constant. the ragdoll is just hilarious. You're constantly falling over and tripping over yourself, and it's your characters don't have a mouth. Well, their mouth is in a costume, so they make these almost like Kenny off of South Park. and it's cute. It's fun. It's mindless and it's fun, and there's no reason for me to play it, which is why I enjoy it when I get stressed out for Hearthstone.
There you go.
And Hearthstone lately has been stressing me out, but in a good way. It's the meta is so good, and it's so kind of fluid, where one deck's on top, then another deck. And I know HS Replay has Paladin on top right now, but that's really not my experience, because I'm also playing Paladin, and it was on top at one point, but it's kind of faltering. So I like that I'm having to try other decks, and of course, doing the podcast here where we are trying decks for the show, it allows me to kind of swing. I've probably played about 50 different decks over the last 2 weeks, which, Blizz, more deck slots, please. I'm smart enough to handle it. And more friends list slots,
one of my favorite things right now is all the grief Paladin has got over the last few months about, oh, Paladin's awful. Nobody plays Paladin. Why would anybody play Paladin? Guess what, bitches? Paladin's on top.
Well, kinda. And we'll talk about this more when we get into the GM, the Grandmasters. Paladin fell flat this weekend in Grandmasters. Only one person made top 4 with Paladin, and it had like a 27% win rate.
Yeah.
He barely limped along, and then, we'll talk about that in the Grandmasters.
Well, first up, there was some kind of big news in the Hearthstone world this week. Team 5,
real big news, actually.
Team 5 held an AMA early this week, and
for you old people that don't do boomers like me that don't know what AMA is, it stands for Ask Me Anything.
Yeah.
And this basically opens the forum to the community to ask questions, and then of course Team 5 goes through and finds questions and answers them.
So one of the big questions that kept getting asked was about the Battle Pass. And basically what we got from the AMA is that Battle Pass will come around with the next set release. They do not intend to change the amount of gold/packs earned during an expansion cycle. Do you want to expand on that anymore?
Yeah, basically everybody's been kind of doing the math based on the information from out of dot cards, which was not. It was an estimated based off of the survey and other information. So, and again, Ben Lee made it real clear that anything they found when it comes to numbers and rewards is literally just rough draft. They're expecting this release to come around the next set release, and that's so there's plenty of time. We got 4 months, 3.5 months before we see the next set. So that's how long before this Battle Pass. And he wanted to make it real clear that while that the whatever rewards you're getting now, you will not see a decrease in those rewards. And now a lot of people are saying if you played every day, got your 100 gold, did your quest, you would make more than the Battle Pass, which would average about 82 gold a day. I don't know how accurate that is, and it sounds like Ben Lee's saying that's not accurate. He didn't specifically say that you could make more, but if this Battle Pass is like other Battle Passes, you could actually possibly, if you're a grinder, average more than what you would make in a day now. So I am not worried about this. I think this is a lot of doom and gloom. The problem is if you give the Hearthstone community enough lead time, they'll hate anything.
That's true.
In my opinion, and this is my opinion, the Hearthstone community killed tournament mode. I think if Blizzard hadn't said anything about tournament mode and just put it out, then we would have been fine with what they gave us. Might have had some questions and they might have worked on it. But the Hearthstone community shot down the tournament mode they presented and then got mad that they didn't just put out something that they could iterate on. So it's like you can't. If you give the Hearthstone community too much time on something, they're going to hate it.
Yeah.
There's something they recently put out that they didn't give us lead time on, Battlegrounds, and we loved it. But I think if they would have given us a 3-month lead time on Battlegrounds, we would have found a reason to hate it.
Well,
so
Ben Lee had a statement during the AMA where he said, there's been some discussion that a huge time investment would be required to complete the levels in the system. We don't intend this to be the case. He said, I'll use myself as an example. I reach Legend every month. During an expansion cycle, I typically earn more than 5,000 gold. He said, I would not expect to earn less under the new system. Outside of Hearthstone, I'm a busy father of 2 children. I have a demanding full-time job, an active life, and I play a huge amount of other games outside of Hearthstone in my spare time. We want people like me who love Hearthstone, but also have other responsibilities and interests to be able to complete all of the reward tracks available.
Yes, and I firmly believe if they do this, and there are some people that say, hey, I'm not getting the rewards I need, they'll tweak it. That's just what Team 5 has proven they will do. And recently they've proven they'll do it in a timely fashion. So I'm not worried about this whole Battle Pass stuff. I'm looking forward to it. And if it takes a little bit of a hit on my grind without making me have to play more, I won't complain too much. It sounds like if he's saying within an expansion cycle you could grind up to 5,000 gold, I'll be happy with that. Now, personally, I've grinded as much as 6,000 gold, but I also regularly cap my 100 gold a day. And
I average that. If you look back at all the past expansions, as little as I play casually, I usually always hit that 5,000 gold because then I'll buy the bundle plus 50 more packs on launch day. Now, I didn't do that with this expansion, but all previous expansions, I'm usually always right around 5,000 gold.
And if he's ensuring that will be the experience for people of your play level, I'm fully fine with it. And I'm excited to see what they do, because obviously they've also said they want to push cosmetic things and things like that. And I love stuff like that, especially if it proves how much I played. Maybe you had to get all the way through the Battle Pass to earn something. Well, yeah, because then I'll equip it and say, hey, I'm a grinder.
I did
this is what I do.
Yeah.
So I love stuff like this. I'm excited. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. The other big announcement that came out of the AMA is that Team 5 is currently evaluating a classic and basic set revamp.
Yes.
This is exciting because this is something we've actually been talking about for a couple of years. When Ben Brode, as game director, announced that classic and basic were going to be evergreen, we thought, well, okay, maybe by being evergreen there'll be some sort of a rotation, but there never was. Now we could see that.
Yeah, and I'm excited for this, especially as a Paladin player, because and our hat's the one that crunched the numbers on this. Out of basic and classic, there are only 4 minions in Paladin. Now, a lot of that has to do with their hero power, because their hero power creates a minion, which was great when the set first came out, and they could focus more on buffs and secrets and stuff, because they didn't need to put minions in the deck, in the class, because they have a hero power for 2 mana that just gives them a 1/1 minion. But the sets that have come out and rotated out and rotated in don't support that style of gameplay, which is what's caused Paladin, in my opinion, to kind of fall back in power level. Now, this set has brought up the power level in Paladin, I think, because it focuses more on the identity of Paladin. But when these cards rotate out, then it's going to falter again. So I'm really looking forward to a classic and basic set revamp. It sounds like it's going to be similar to what they did with Priest, which some people, might not agree whether that was successful or not. But they're going to do it with the entire set, which sounds like with neutral cards too, which will be exciting to see what they do. I'm nervous because you almost have to relearn Hearthstone over again. At least I can say I know the basic and classic sets, reliable, boom. These are the cards I can rely on every set, and it'll be kind of double-edged sword. I'll like having to learn something new again, but also I'm an old man. I don't like learning stuff new all the time. So I'm excited. I'm excited for any change that comes to Hearthstone, whether it ends up being positive or negative in the community's eyes. It's change, and that means that Team 5 is willing to make change to evolve Hearthstone, and that is the good part for me.
Yeah. Also coming out of this, as we kind of briefly touched on, there's going to be some Battleground hero balances coming very soon.
Yeah, they said very soon. Like, we might hear something in the next week or so.
Yeah. MMR and seasonal, is that resets are planned for the next major update? And
yeah, which people are reading into this a little bit, because when's the quote-unquote next major update? People, when they saw this, MMR and seasonal resets, assumed it would happen with the Battle Pass. Does that mean they're not going to have a major update for Battlegrounds until the next set comes out? Because that's when they said the Battle Pass is. But that hasn't been what we've been getting out of Battlegrounds. We've been getting kind of major updates every 3 or 4 weeks. So we might see an MMR seasonal reset before the Battle Pass comes out, which is exciting. I would like an MMR reset because I've toyed around with it. It took me a long time to figure it out, and I'd like a chance on fresh ground to start over.
Right. Also, the team was asked about token damage, and they said they didn't really see any issues currently with token damage, except in the cases of Nat Pagal and the pirate ship, which they are currently looking into.
Yeah, and the reason there's a problem with those tokens is because the minions that pop out of those could be 6 or 5-star minions. So you could finish off a pirate ship, and all of a sudden you're taking 18 points of damage along with their Tavern tier, because it popped out 3 tier 6 minions. So this is something that needs to be looked into. There's been a lot of people think that, and I don't know how easy the coding would be for this, but a lot of players believe that anything that comes off a Death Rattle should just be tier 1 like any token. But I'm sure on the back end, that's a big design change, infrastructure-wise, engineering-wise, to then assign a tier 1 value to a tier 6 or tier 5 minion because it popped out of a Death Rattle. So I don't know how soon they'll take a look at this, but it is something that needs to be looked at.
Yeah, and then last but not least, in Battlegrounds, they are looking to tune down the Murloc tribe, while also boosting the Beast tribe.
Yep.
So I know this will make a lot of pirate players happy, because now they just will rule the roost.
Well, I think the hope is boosting the Beast will keep the pirates in check, because that is a counter for pirates if you get the perfect storm. But if they put in better beasts, maybe it won't matter.
And then for those of you who are waiting to see if there are any changes to the Scholomance cards before you dust something or you craft something, they did state there are no current planned balance changes at this time for Scholomance.
Yeah, and that kind of surprises me. Not necessarily that Scholomance needs balance changes, but that they said this, because I don't think this means there's not going to be any balance changes. I think it's specifically with Scholomance cards they may not make balance changes.
And see, I've been actually sitting on all my Goldens that I opened from Scholomance just to wait and see if there were any changes before I dusted them to craft some of the legendaries that I'm missing, that I need for some of the key legendaries I'm missing for decks.
Yeah, and this is what I said a lot during the set reviews, our set review episodes, is that I didn't necessarily think certain cards were going to be nerfed. but that they would result in a nerf of another card. And those could be cards that are outside of uh, the Scholomance set, like Kael'Thas.
Mm-hmm.
Because Kael'Thas came out of Ashes, right?
Was it Ashes? Well, yeah, technically, but it was given to everybody, so nobody had to open it. But yes,
but it came out of that
considered
rotation,
of the Ashes of Outland.
So I mean, that card might get a nerf. There's other cards that are not Scholomance cards that might get balance changes. So I'm kind of, I don't think there's. I think we're going to have nerfs probably in the next couple of weeks, or at least announced in the next couple of weeks. It's just odd they would say that none of those are going to be Scholomance cards at this time. Again,
right?
Something might come. A lot of times when the competitive season starts back up, and we have a Masters Tour coming up, Grandmasters just started, that brings certain cards to light. And so this AMA was before then, so something might come up this weekend that they want to look into.
Yeah. Moving on. Oh, they also did say that we could see dual class cards come up in future sets, which I thought was really cool.
But they did say it's not planned,
right?
But they could see them.
See, and that's my biggest issue with Team 5 is they introduce these really great mechanics, and then they just go away, and you never see or hear from them again. And it's like, why bother just taunting us with it one time and then taking it away?
Yeah, but I kind of see it like when they did the roguelike, the dungeon runs, and everybody's like, those are great, do them again. Then they did it again, and they're like, yeah, we really like them. Then they did it again, and we're like, okay, you did it. All right, do something else now, So you can never keep, you want to stay fresh. So rotating.
I miss the roguelikes. I want them back.
I do too. I do too. I'll be honest. But you and I are old gamers, and we like our thing and don't mess with it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. All right. Next up, they talked about reverting nerfs and future buffs, and they did say that reverted nerfs planned for rotation for cards that will be going into Wild. They would not specify what those cards were at this time, but they are planned.
This was a more answering more of a design philosophy. They were asking if there's going to be any nerfs planned for cards going into Wild,
mm-hmm.
or for cards in Wild, and they basically said that if they're going to do any nerfs that affect Wild, it would be at rotation, not for a reversion of nerfs, that is, not before we get to that rotation. So don't expect anything to get unnerfed between now and April.
Right. And they also stated they primarily use buffs as a correction tool, and there are no buffs currently planned or were mentioned at this time. Then real quick, we're just going to skim over these last few points from the AMA. We do have a link to the AMA in our show notes if you want to check it all out. But Celestalon stated that Paladin secrets are pretty hard to design around. And the next set coming has one of his favorite Paladin secrets.
So, and I'm excited about this. And I put this in the show notes because that tells me Celestalon's a Paladin fan, and he likes the secrets. So, I'm excited for the next set already because he said this.
Yeah. He also stated, or they also stated, that previously released hero portraits and card backs will be returning for those that didn't have a chance to acquire them.
Yeah, we've seen them pop into the store for like 100 gold or something like that.
Recently, we saw Tyrande, the priest hero, drop in there.
I mean, I didn't see it, but other people did, because I have them all.
Oh, yeah. There are no plans for another Doom in the Tomb top event at this time.
Yeah, and this is good, because the Doom in the Tomb event was a great experiment, and I'm glad they did it, but I'm glad it's gone.
Yeah. There is a new type of vanity card incoming, which will look different in the collection, the hand, and on the board.
Yeah, this is like alternate art cards.
I honestly, when they first mentioned alternate art in the possibility for the Battle Pass, that gets me excited.
But I think it's mainly for you because they want to keep things as easy to identify by your opponents as possible. So I could expect that only you would get some of these vanity card arts. So yeah, we'll have to see how this is implemented to see if I like it. Again, I like showing off my goods, and if I can't show off my goods, then there's no reason for me to have it. So,
and then this last point upsets me terribly. No plans to revisit year-long narratives like they did with Year of the Dragon, but they are open to doing it again someday. Just like dual class and all the other mechanics in the past. Hey, here's a really cool thing. Hope you enjoyed it, because out the window, you may never see it again.
I think all this means is it's not in the year for rotation for this year or next year. And basically, I think there was an interview with Alec Dawson that he kind of alluded that they basically assign a team to each set. And they do other things, and they get help from other areas of Team 5. But that team is designed for the theme and the idea and the structure and the card types and stuff like that, mechanics. And maybe that team hasn't been assigned to a new set yet, and when they do, they'll do this again. Hopefully, we'll see it again. But I don't think we have to have a year-long narrative every single year. That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with that, and I like that they say that they're open to it again someday.
Yeah, and we also had a hotfix announced.
Yes.
This is 18.0.1, and in this hotfix, the two significant changes that are coming are around the discover keyword and randomly generated cards. So. Yeah. Discover cards can no longer discover themselves, which we saw them implement this recently with Dragon Queen Alexstrasza. Now they've expanded it to all discover cards. And then cards that generate a random card cannot generate themselves.
This is kind of weird to me. So basically when you evocation, you're not going to get another evocation in your hand to chain evocations, which is good. I just didn't expect them to go this tight on it. And these hotfixes are in place now. I think they've got pushed out Friday, just before the Grandmasters, or might have been Thursday. I can't remember which. It was just before Grandmasters started. So this obviously is a change they want to do right away. And I'm kind of excited. Now, on the those two main topics, they did make a clarification that, and this is a wild card, Shadow Visions can still discover a Shadow Visions if a copy is in your deck, because it discovers a copy of a card in your deck. So if there's a second copy, I think the discovers they're talking about are discovers that discover out of the blue.
Randomly generated discovers. Yeah.
Not
it will not affect finding a card in your deck.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is a very, very positive change.
Okay.
And it actually narrows down the pool enough that makes some cards a little better.
Yeah. They also fixed a bug with Jandis Barov, Death Summon, not dying if summoned from Khadgar.
Yeah, so the dead one Khadgar makes a copy of it. The second copy of the one that was marked as the one you choose to die if it takes any damage wasn't dying, even though it was supposed to. So that was a bug fix. It wasn't a change or a nerf.
Right. And Kael'Thas was not summoning minions that died from returning to full hand.
Yes, this is something I didn't know would happen. So if your opponent has 10 cards in their hand and you sap a minion, it will destroy it. But if you sap a minion with Kael'Thas in play and it destroys it, I didn't think you would get that, because the card isn't intended to destroy a minion. But evidently it's supposed to give you that minion, and now it does. So this is I don't want to say a buff to Kael'Thas, because that's a very niche case that happens, but it's very interesting.
Yeah. And so that's pretty much it for the hot fixes. So that brings us to this week's other topic, which is Grandmasters is back. Season 2, 2020, week 1. So this week we started with Swiss Conquest Best of 5 with one ban, as we're accustomed to seeing.
Yeah. And before we get into the breakdown, basically what they're going to do is like they did last season, where the first 3 weeks are different formats. And then they do 4 rounds of kind of a round robin, and then they break off into playoffs. The 3 formats this time are going to be Conquest, which is kind of the normal format we're used to. We'll see Last Hero Standing for week 2. And then week 3, last season, we got that weird, you bring all 10 classes and your opponent bans 6 of the classes, and it was really neat and kind of intuitive. I liked it. Well, this time they're going to go with the third format as being Specialist, which we haven't seen Specialist in a while.
Yeah, mostly because a lot of the Grandmasters didn't like it.
But I think if it's just a 1-week thing, I think it's fine, because it's a format we know. It's a format that's been competitive, and I think some of the Grandmasters like the pick 10 format, but a lot of the viewers didn't, because basically you saw the
Specialist was the most
decks.
boring thing to watch in Hearthstone history.
Well, maybe the meta will allow for a better format. So we'll see if I'm looking forward to week 3 to see if Specialist is any better in the new format.
I am also looking forward to week 3 of Hearthstone Specialist format, so maybe I can catch up on the sleep I missed watching week 2. So.
Fair enough. So anyways, APAC region broke into the way they do it is they play the Swiss rounds off stream, and then they stream the top 8 in 2 groups, Group A and Group B, and then they break those 2 groups into the top 4, and then they do the top 4 on Sunday, which they did today, and then decide a finalist, and you get points based on that to place yourself for the round robin section going into playoffs. And in Group A, we had Chansu, Surrender, Flurry, and Glory, kind of the who's who of the APAC region.
Yeah.
Group B was Possessi, Blitzchung, Tyler, and Bank Yugi. Bank Yugi is the newly minted Grandmaster. He's brand new. So I like to see him in the mix. So top 4 went to Chansu, Tyler, Bank Yugi, and Surrender. Again, Bank Yugi's hanging in there.
Mm-hmm.
Finals was Bank Yugi defeating Chansu.
Right. So the new guy comes in and just absolutely beats one of the establishment. Chansu's been around as long as I can remember them having an APAC region.
And before that, he had to beat Surrender. And Surrender's arguably the best APAC player in Hearthstone history, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. So Bank Yugi, I wasn't paying attention to this guy. I recognize his name. I'm going to now, because he is on my radar. I'm really excited, and he was really exciting to watch play. Yeah. He's very analytical in his plays, and I like that a lot.
Yeah. Over in the EU, Group A saw Yarla, Seiko, Swids, and Boar Control, while Group B saw X-Blizes, RDU, Bunny Hopper, and Tice. That Group B, that Group B is a group.
Blizes being another new Grandmaster.
Yeah.
French player. He came out when I saw this, I was like, wow, RDU, Bunny Hopper, and Tice, you couldn't have picked a worse group to have to debut into.
Right. So top 4 saw Yarla versus Blizes and RDU versus Seiko. Moving on.
This was probably the best Hearthstone I've seen in a long time. Both these games, specifically Yarla versus Blizes Game 3, Blizes won that series 3-0, and that third game was just masterful for him to close it out. And then RDU and Seiko, that Game 4 was just, you got to watch it to even believe half the stuff that happened. So those are two kind of
two
matches that I would say to watch.
Okay.
And then the finals was Blyzus defeating RDU.
Yes.
Again, new Grandmaster coming out gangbusters.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And over in the Americas, we saw Group A with Just Sayin', Frozen, Muzzy, and Eddie. And Group B, Bloody Face, Firebat, Language Hacker, and the new Grandmaster No Hands Gamer.
This broke my heart because you know how much fans we are of Bloody Face and Language Hacker.
Yes.
And we've also started to fall in love with No Hands Gamer, just from his story and he's just really good at the game. So it's like I want definitely three of these to move on, and only two can.
Yeah. So top four saw Language Hacker versus Eddie, and it was a really good match. Yeah. And then Muzzy versus Firebat. However,
so Firebat comes out of Group B, having to get past No Hands Gamer and Bloody Face, because Bloody Face and Language Hacker faced, and Language Hacker went on. Mm-hmm. But Firebat didn't show up.
Yeah, so apparently Firebat pulled a disguised toast from a few years ago, and his alarm was set incorrectly, and he overslept. There's been quite a bit of back and forth on Firebat's Twitter. He said, got an instant game loss because Grandmasters was running 1 hour ahead of schedule, and I didn't set my alarm for an hour early. And so there's just been a lot of people talking about that. But the rule, I'm an innkeeper. The rules for tournament play are ingrained in me, and the rule states the only way to avoid a penalty is if your scheduled match happens 3 hours ahead of the schedule or 3 hours after the schedule. You have a grace window to where you cannot be penalized, but it has to be. So if you're scheduled to play at 11 and they call you for your match at 7 a.m., there's no penalty if you don't make it, other than the DQ. You don't have to pay the $1,000 fine. Same thing happens if your match is scheduled for 11 and you play at 3. But anytime within that window, it's $1,000 fine and an automatic loss.
And on the broadcast, Frodan, they mentioned having to call Eddie, and Eddie they couldn't reach. But they said the check-in deadline for Eddie, which I believe was for all the players, was 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and you get a 10-minute grace period for that, so really 11:10. He was 90 seconds short of hitting the end of that grace period, which tells me that Firebat didn't meet his scheduled check-in time as well.
Yeah, Eddie is actually, in the last 6 minutes, Eddie has actually spoken out against this too, saying that yes, there is a check-in time. However, it is completely unrealistic compared to your actual playing time. He said, on Friday, my check-in time was 11:30 a.m., which they even informed us that it might be early and we would need to be ready soon. Turns out, NA broadcast didn't even begin until 3 p.m. and my match didn't even start until 5 p.m. So they basically want them checked in up to 6-7 hours in advance and just sitting there available in case something happens.
Now, it was said on the EU broadcast that Blyzus and RDU were playing like lights out. It was so fast they were having a hard time casting it. So they expected it to be their fastest day ever. And sure enough, it was, which caused a ripple in the Americas side of it. I personally believe that there's a level of professional integrity that you're expected when you are in these type of tournaments. And I think that the punishment is within the means of Blizzard Esports and justifiable. Now, I do know that on Twitter, there's been a lot of support for Firebat and a lot of people saying they disagree with him being penalized. But that's their opinion.
Yeah,
Who am I to say they're wrong or right?
A lot of people are saying that the players should unionize or stand together and hold Blizzard accountable. That if they randomly bump a start time like they did, that there needs to be some sort of an agreement in place where if neither player shows up and they DQ both players, that all players just cancel and there's no tournament, no money.
Yeah, but that's hard to get all the players on the same page.
Without players, you have no tournament. I mean, you've seen this in Major League Baseball when they strike. Right.
But you're also relying on some of these players can afford to do that because they have a fallback of a stream or something else. They have income coming. Some of these people don't.
These players aren't here. Aren't doing this to make a living. They don't make enough money in this. Blizzard doesn't pay enough for people to do this exclusively. These players make way more money streaming to their fans than they do in a Grandmaster weekend.
But some of these players are also just like students, and they rely on this income as kind of a supplemental extra income for them to live the life that they live. So while they may not stream, they go to school and they get this extra small amount as they're spending money, and I wouldn't expect them to want to sacrifice that just for the sake of change when you may not know if that change is even coming. So I'm not saying they shouldn't. I'm just saying I understand.
Look at Blitzchung. If you don't, change will never happen.
It's fair. That's fair. And it would probably be in the best interest of the players to do that. I just would not expect every player to agree to something like that.
Yeah.
Especially the brand new Grandmasters that just came in the system. They're like, this is my first chance, and you want me to possibly throw it all away just to make a stand? Again, it'd be great if they would, and I think they should. I just wouldn't look down on them if they didn't.
Yeah.
I guess is the best way to put it.
Right. Yeah. All right, that brings us to this week's Tavern Brawl. Wait, did we finish talking about Americas? Because there was a great finals match between Muzzy and Language Hacker.
Yeah, and Muzzy in 5 games defeats. It went to game 5, didn't it?
Yeah,
I think it did. Defeats Language Hacker.
No, it went to game 4. It went to game 4.
It almost went to game 5. It almost swung. So it went to 4 games, and Muzzy defeated Language Hacker 3-1. This was a great series, and it also showed that Big Warrior can do really well.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. I'm loving the concept of Big Warrior. I don't have the cards to build it yet. I still need Kargath Prime and what's the new one? The 9/9 that gets smaller every turn. Rattlegore. I don't have Rattlegore. Yes. But I love this concept for this deck. It looks like so much fun. So, all right. Well,
I've actually played it, and it's done really well. So yeah.
It's my kind of control. I enjoy it. So that brings us to this week's Tavern Brawl, which is who's the boss now? And the answer is not Tony Danza. So, Dungeon Boss, that's for all you old listeners out there. You younger guys may not understand that. Dungeon Bosses want to help you play. Build your own deck with a random boss power. Each time you use it, get a new one. So, this was a one and done for me. I actually played the Druid deck or a version of the Druid deck that we're playing in this with a lot of the big minions. So I would just spam the hero power until I got the one that pulled a minion out of your deck, and then just start pulling out big minions as fast as possible.
Yeah, I play Big Warrior. and it was perfect.
Yeah, yeah.
My opponent emoted and hated me.
Yep, yep. So, like I said, this was a one and done for me, but it was a lot of fun. All right, let's get to this week's deck list because, like I said, we've both been playing this. It's a lot of fun. I've been enjoying it, and we need to enjoy it while we can because there are a lot of people saying there needs to be changes made to this deck.
Yes, and we actually, I was planning on trying to bring possibly a rogue, but because of some kind of stir in the community, especially on Reddit, which I'll talk about after we read the deck list, we decided to go ahead and do Druid now before we weren't able to do it.
Yeah. So, all right, I'm going to run down the deck list. We'll talk a little bit about how it plays, and then we'll talk about this community discussion. But the deck is 2 Innervate, 2 Lightning Bloom, 2 Animated Broomstick, 2 Nature Studies, 2 Ironbark, 2 Bog Beam, Speaker Ghidra, 1 Wild Growth, 2 Overgrowth, 2 Lake Threshers, 2 Teacher's Pet, 2 Twilight Runners, 2 Guardian Animals, Kael'Thas Sunstrider, which is one of the keys to the deck, 2 Overflows, Ysera Unleashed, and 2 Survival of the Fittest. So, obviously, this deck has a lot of ramp in Innervate, Lightning Bloom, Wild Growth, Overgrowth. And one of the keys is try to ramp up, play Kael'Thas, and then play a free Survival of the Fittest or a free Guardian Animals as early as possible to try to just overload your opponent.
Yeah, basically you're wanting to have a turn 10 play on turn 4. Mm-hmm. And
it's completely possible.
On turn 4, they got to deal with 2 big minions or sometimes 3 big minions. And it's... So we had a list that did not have Animated Broomstick.
Yes.
And
I just want to point out, if you're unfamiliar with how to play or use the Animated Broomstick, Orange has a great tutorial video on his Twitter.
Yeah, go check it out. We're not even going to give any details. Just go check out his Twitter. He gave out a great tutorial video on how to use the broomstick.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely check that out. Anyways, what I found out is playing the original version, which a lot of players brought the Grandmasters that didn't have Animated Broomstick, and then playing the one with Animated Broomstick, which Man at Arms get brought to our attention from Hunter Ace. Hunter Ace said, hey, I was shown the ways of the broomstick. This is my list. And the reason broomstick is good in the meta right now on the ladder, not necessarily in competitive like tournaments, but in the ladder, is because a lot of tempo and aggressive decks are popular right now. And the best way to the other Druid list kind of lost to those lists because they got too much pressure out early, and if you didn't get that perfect storm of ramping up into your guardian animals on turn 3 or 4, then you just got blown out by tempo. But this allows you to throw down like a Lake Thresher and an Animated Broomstick and then gain that tempo back. So that's what the Animated Broomstick is there for specifically, is to give those, either give your Lake Thresher rush, so now it cleaves their board and now you're the aggressor, or give your Twilight Runner rush, then you're drawing 2 cards without having to rely on the Guardian Animals combo. So it's really Animated Broomstick, in my opinion. If you're playing any kind of tempo style deck, it goes in there unless it's pure Paladin.
Oh yeah, one of my favorite things is 6 mana, play a Twilight Runner and a Broomstick and attack and draw cards, and it's just it feels like a good turn.
Now you have to remember, and I made this mistake a lot, you have to play the minions first and then the Animated Broomstick because it's a battle cry.
Correct.
So many times I threw out the broomstick and then the minion and went, oh wait, it's not a static effect on the broomstick.
Right.
Another thing is Animated Broomstick also has rush. Mm-hmm. So there's also some like OTK combo style decks that utilize the Animated Broomstick. One is the I've been testing it out to lots of failure, is a Nomi priest that plays animated broomstick, plays Nomi, which fills your board with 6/6s because your deck is empty. You rush in the broomstick so that you have an open slot, and then you play Elucia to swap hands with your opponent. Now they can't clear the 6/6s on the board.
Right.
Because your hand has nothing to clear the 6/6s. Next turn you win.
Yeah.
So
go ahead.
That's why when I heard them say there's no cards from Scholomance on their radar to be nerfed, I thought, what about animated broomstick? Because it enables so many things right now, and
even in
might
this
need
deck,
it.
even in this deck, late game, a 1-mana 5/5 or a 1-mana 9/9 is pretty darn good, especially when it has rush.
Yeah, because it gets the benefit of the survival of the fittest as well.
Yeah.
I mean, a good solid turn is to play it on turn 10 with Ysera Unleashed.
Oh.
And now the Ysera Unleashed isn't just a dead stall turn. It isn't a turn that you're not making any advancement on the board. You're playing it for later. Now you can actually play your anime broomstick, which both might have +4/+4 or even +8/+8 by that point. So I think Animated Broomstick might be a card that gets a look at the nerf. It might need to go to 2 mana. That I think would be enough. It could even be a 2 mana 2/2. I don't think the stats even matter on it.
Yeah.
No. It's the fact that it's so easy to just throw into any combo of even high costed minions, like a Rattlegore or something. So, yeah, it's definitely a good card, and this is a good deck for it to be in. I'm excited to play it.
Yeah.
But the one thing I want to talk about is the community on Reddit, and we'll have the link in our show notes. Specifically came out about Kael'Thas in this deck.
Yes.
Or Kael'Thas in general, that they believe the way to fix 50% of Hearthstone's balance problems with a single number change, and it's changing Kael'Thas to set the cost of...
Well, not just Kael'Thas. They're saying any card that reduces a card to 0 mana should never go below 1.
Yes, so it would set a card to 1 instead of 0.
Yeah.
And that would... And right now, the biggest...
the example they use is Kael'Thas. Yeah.
So the fact that this Reddit post is getting so much traction from 8 days ago and might be on Team 5's radar might lead us to believe that if any nerfs to come out, they might be the Kael'Thas, and it might exactly be this specific change, because a lot of the community is saying yes. I think I read this entire Reddit, 84 comments, and somebody actually invested money to give it a gold star so that it popped up higher on the rating. And I think I only saw 2 comments that they thought this was a bad idea, and I think they were probably trolls. So if the community is so behind this type of change, we might see it. I mean, we've seen people clamor and make comments about discovering its own card. We've seen that change in a hotfix recently. So I fully support Kael'Thas Sunstrider being changed to not reduce below 1 mana. And for that reason, we're playing this deck this week, because it might not be a deck in a couple weeks.
That's right. So, and like I said, we've been playing it for a few days now. I've been having a blast with it. So, all right. If you are joining us on Twitch or YouTube, stay tuned as we go to the live play portion to check out this deck list. If you are listening via the audio podcast, we'd like to thank you for joining us. Remember, you can follow us on Hero Power, or you can follow us on Twitter at HeroPower_cast. You can find all of our past episodes on YouTube at youtube.com/ECMMOGamers, or on our website at HeroPowerHS.com. If you enjoy the show, you'd like to help support and improve it, you can do so by joining our Patreon at patreon.com/HeroPower. We'll see you all again next week.
And don't forget to use your hero power.
Alrighty.
I ended last night around, I think it was 2,900 legend. I'm 3765, just decaying.
Okay. Okay. So you're driving today, right?
Is that cool?
That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Spectate is all on.
Yeah.
Screen shake is off. I'm really at first I didn't like having the screen shake off, but I don't know. I like it.
Yeah.
I've gotten used to it being off.
Hey, I want to throw a shout out to our buddy Ducharmo, who's, well, no, wait. No, never mind. My Hearthstone client is just showing everybody at rank 25.
Yeah, what it does, it grabbed Bloody Face's rank, who is 25. Sometimes it'll grab one nearby, and you'll see everybody there. Oh,
I have never seen that before.
Yeah, I've seen it. Okay, so our opening hand is Kael'Thas, Teacher's Pet, and Survival of the Fittest. Some people like holding Kael'Thas. I'm not sure. I usually will hold Guardian Animals, but I'm sometimes holding Kael'Thas as a trap.
Yeah,
because you don't know if you're going to have the Survival of the Fittest.
We really want some ramp cards.
Yeah, so I say we throw all this back.
I agree. So
I will, if I'm on the coin, I might hold Guardian Animals because that's one extra mana I have to throwing it out early. Ooh, Lightning Bloom
into Overgrowth. That's a play. So let me ask you, now that you've had some time with it, because I know when we did our card review, originally you were just kind of on the card, but what do you think of Speaker Ghidra now that you've had more time to actually play with it?
I think she's good. I don't think she's one of these like over the top. Speaking of,
you're welcome.
I don't think she's one of these crazy over the top must haves. But I can understand why people are liking her so much. I crafted her for this deck, and I don't know. Sometimes she's really great. Sometimes she's okay.
Okay.
We're not going to Lightning Bloom out this Overgrowth, are we?
I don't think so, no.
Okay, so we just Hero Power?
Yeah, Hero Power, go face.
Rogue's very popular right now, and we're probably seeing this very fast stealth weapon rogue. So they're going to get out the gate really. This is the type of deck that you want the broomstick for.
So do we Lightning Bloom out the Lake Thresher or the Twilight Runner, depending on what they do?
I'm thinking we might, but then that means we don't Overgrowth on 4.
That's true.
See, all he has is the one stealth minion, so the Lake Thresher ain't going to do much for us.
Yeah.
Ugh, all our beasts. I am considering just tempoing out the Speaker Ghidra, so he feels like he has to smack into it.
Okay.
The problem is all he has to do is hit it with his weapon.
Yes, that is true.
But I think it basically is for healing.
That's true. It might as well have taunt. Basically.
And if he decides he wants to ignore this, which I doubt he will,
he'll get hurt next turn.
He'll get hurt with the Overgrowth. So he almost has to hit it. Yeah. So we nature studies into Overgrowth?
Yeah, I like it.
And now, nature studies will not find you another nature studies.
Correct.
That's important to note.
Do we take the Starfall for the AoE damage?
I think we might for all the small taunts, small stealth minions we're going to see.
Yeah.
I don't hate that. And then we Overgrowth. We have 7 mana. I love the top deck animated broomstick. That would be great. Though we can Starfall and Hero Power. Wow, and the 2 hook scimitars with the combo. This deck is so aggressive. I think we have to Starfall Hero Power.
Yeah, I don't think we have another option. Doesn't feel good because we're going to take 7 damage total, and we're just at 13.
7. What do you want? 7.
Starfall. Oh well, okay, 6.
Starfall. We Starfall for 5.
Oh, okay. Not remove. Okay, and then just
why take
Hero
the 3
Power
when we
that.
can take the 2? So essentially, we take 1 because of our hero.
Right. So essentially, we're taking 5 total between that and the weapon.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be 7. I mean, still, we're not in a good spot.
No, we're not.
And if we had the guardian animals, we wouldn't get.
So he's playing Passage. Secret Tunnel.
Secret Passage.
Yeah, but that's not the meme.
There's a meme.
Secret Tunnel.
I don't get a comma main decked.
Ooh, okay.
That's interesting. That's spicy. I don't hate that at all. I think we're donezo though.
Well, no, we could play the Lake Thresher and give it a taunt.
It's not ideal, but it's something.
Something you could. Yeah. I mean, you could even Lightning Bloom Twilight Runner.
We can. That'll give us a little refill next turn. It doesn't allow us to hero power, which means we're dead to eviscerate. But I think if he had an eviscerate in his original hand, he would have already used at least 1.
Right.
But he probably has sap. Sap is, yep, there's a sap. That's pretty much how they get past any taunts.
Mm-hmm.
And there's an eviscerate. And then hero power.
Yep.
That'll do it.
Okay.
That went textbook for the rogue, so I don't.
It was.
I don't think that loss.
Absolutely textbook.
And this rogue is out preying on these druids in the slower decks, the combo style mages, and even preying on the paladins because the paladins can't. I put a Lightforged Blessing in my paladin specifically for that matchup, so that I could get, even if it's like just a 2/2 that I put life steal on. Mm-hmm. It's something. It's 2 points of damage to offset in the early game, and it's won me some games. So I'm only a 1 of a Lightforged Blessing, but if I can get it, it helps me in that matchup. Okay, so we got us a mirror here.
Okay, we've got. Ooh, I kind of like this.
I don't know about the bog beam.
Yeah. I mean, you can throw back the bog beam
against Druid. I don't. If we were playing like Demon Hunter or something, I'd keep the bog beam.
And we're on the coin, so we could coin Ghidra on 2, Wild Growth on 3.
Yeah,
I think Ghidra. I think it'll be hard for him to get rid of Ghidra on 2.
Oh, and the Innervate.
And the Broomstick.
So we passed this turn.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably going to hero power. I like the coin Ghidra. I like it a lot, actually.
Yeah, and then you go into Wild Growth on 3 if he can't find some way to get rid of it.
And we specifically want to use the coin because we don't want to show me have Innervate or
Lightning Bloom. Correct, yes.
So what? I mean, they might have Bog Beam, but that's 3 damage.
Mm-hmm.
Bog Beam.
Coin.
Oh, he's lightning blooming.
Hero power. Nice.
So we know he's going to be.
So he's only going to have 2 mana next turn.
Do we take this time to lightning bloom out our teacher's pet?
I don't hate that.
I mean, normally you want to ramp, but he's not going to have anything to do.
Right.
And next turn, we could innervate out the Wild Growth.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit off script, but I think he's
is the best thing
hero
power pass.
He can't do anything else. Then we innervate out the wild growth and start smacking him.
Yep, I like it.
And see, even if he has guardian animals, he would have to have the other wild bloom in his hand, or the other lightning bloom in his hand. So we've really slowed him down.
He's going to overgrowth.
Okay, overgrowth. Okay, so he can guardian animals next turn. Yeah, I think we just hero power.
Hero power and hit him, yeah.
Yeah, drawing the 2 survival of the fittest and the Ysera has been just bad. But anything we draw this next turn, we can play. Will we want to play it is the question, but there's a guardian animals he wanted to do a turn earlier. So he's only going to draw 2 because he can't. Well, no, the minion that pops out. Okay. We can broomstick that down if we needed to.
Yeah. But he's got 9 cards in his hand, so he doesn't want to overdraw.
Yeah. Maybe we don't kill it. I might be giving him too many resources not to kill it, though. Nature Study doesn't empty a card out of his hand.
That's not good.
That's probably one of the worst draws we could do.
Yeah.
Hero power, smack him in the face.
I think we have to.
This is a terrible draw. The Guardian, the Twilight Runner's like the card you probably want to kill, but it's kind of bad. Like if he attacks us with this, that's bad. So he draws a card here, so he's still a 10.
Yeah. He
can't play things like Overflow. He could probably Guardian Animals again because he won't draw another.
Flame War, Force Ward.
This is the Malagos version.
Yep.
This is so he's refreshing all his mana crystals. But
he still can't attack us with that.
He can't afford to. But that's usually a setup turn for Malagos, but I can't imagine him Malagosing this turn. Wow. Oh, man.
I believe that's it. That's it.
There's nothing we can do.
Nope. He's got 18 on the board. All he has to do is play. Does he run survival in that deck?
I don't think it does. But if he has any combination of Malagos Moonfires...
Yeah, we're pretty much dead.
It's enough. Yeah. Man, we had a great start if we wouldn't have drawn the 10-10-9.
That's true.
And that's something I've learned with this deck, is you can just draw really bad. That's why I found myself streaking with it. I win like 5 in a row, then I lose 3 in a row. Then I win 4 in a row, then I lose another 2 or 3 in a row. It's like, it's because of the draw. It was always, I drew into this and I won, or I didn't draw into something else and I lost. Yep. And a Moonfire. That'll be enough. I think, no.
Nope.
3 off, but might as well
not really any coming back from this.
Yeah.
Unless he top decks another Moonfire.
Lightning Bloom swipe? No, not swipe. Innervate swipe. Okay, there's a swipe.
Yeah.
Yep. We just drew really bad. And that's fine. I mean, that happens. You know.
All right. Again, let's play one more.
You want to play one more?
Yeah, let's play one more.
One more. Two fairly quick losses.
Yeah, they were pretty quick. So
I'd like to get the gangbusters start, which I'm 16-13 with this version. You know, I was 16-11 going into this, so And Priest. I think I got good numbers against Priest. Let me see. 5-0 versus Priest with this version.
Okay. So Guardian Animals, Lightning Bloom, Ironbark.
I think we throw the Ironbark back, but we keep the Guardian Animals and the Lightning Bloom.
Okay.
This is how I've been playing it, and when I do it this way, I win.
Okay.
Because right now, at the latest, we can do this on 4.
Right.
Or on 5, technically.
Well, there's an overgrowth, so that helps.
Yep, that'll help. I would have loved to drawn in nature studies.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, this turn I'll take an innervate.
There's an innervate. Innervate into overgrowth.
Yep. And the next turn we get to Guardian Animals.
Yeah.
We'll float in a mana. So I'd rather draw into another innervate if we can get away with it. He put us a minion out, so we'll get value off Twilight Runner if we get it off Guardian Animals.
Yeah.
That's good. This will allow us to do something next turn. Ironbark. Guardian Animals. Twilight Runner and a Lake Thresher. I think we hit with the runner just so we get to draw.
I agree.
Gidra. Druid to an anime broomstick. That's good. We're looking a lot better this game. So we'll be on 5 mana. It's fine. Oh.
That's...
They get that broomstick off of us?
Yeah, must have.
Okay. I mean, that's fine. Do we just Ironbark that Thresher, just hit face?
I think so.
What about Ironbark the Thresher?
And play the Gidra? Yeah.
We don't want to play the Gidra first.
Oh, that's true.
0 cost would
yeah,
overwrite the spell burst.
The only thing we need to worry about is them stealing the Gidra.
Yeah, if they steal the Gidra, if they just run it into our Thresher. I'm not worried about that. I don't think, because they would be 3 mana on the Shadow Madness, and then I have to spend 2 more mana to give it any buffs.
Brittle Bone.
Wow, that was good.
Yeah.
Well, we got another Guardian Animals, so.
We needed that in our deck.
No, we don't. We can animate a broomstick.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
So I think that's what we do.
Okay.
I don't think we need to use the because we don't need the card draw because we'll have the overflow. So Thresher first. Broomstick. Hit the 3/3.
Yeah.
Hero Power Face. That's fine. That's fine. We're probably going to overflow this next turn.
Mm-hmm.
I think the only other thing I would consider is Ysera, depending on what they do. We still haven't gotten a perfect game this time, but it's a lot better than last time. Ooh. Innovate. Time Rip, okay. So we might need the Guardian Animals this turn so we can kill off that Sethic. So we're not guaranteed a Twilight Runner, but it's likely.
Yeah.
I think we Guardian.
I think we Guardian Animals as well.
Yep, we got one. So we use the runner to kill it.
And draw the cards.
So we get to draw. We want low cost spells. We got one.
We got one, but go face, and hero power go face.
Yep. And we drew our last beast, which we want to now that we use both guardian animals. We got the best optimal use of guardian animals.
Yeah.
And now those cards aren't in our deck to fluff up the draws. More than half of our deck. Oh.
God, we're just one card off being able to. Do we just play that and have the 5/5 and the 8/9?
I don't hate that.
And then use the I don't either.
Use the pet to clear. Do we need to clear Kael'Thas out? He did his damage.
He did his thing. Yeah, I don't think so. Now just hit him in the face for a whole bunch.
Yeah, I like that. Because he'll either have to use spot removal or he'll have to run both minions into it. And he's dealing with 9 cards in his hand.
He's already used one Shadow Word of Death.
And he's used 1 time rip.
Yeah.
And a minion is going to pop out of this 8/9. So he'll have to deal with it too.
I mean, not really. It's not going to be a buffed minion, so.
No, but it's a threat if we draw another Survival of the Fittest.
Yeah.
What if Mukla pops out of it? It's a 5/5.
True. Zephrys.
There's the other death.
He's got 6.
Yeah, so it might try to prioritize Shadow Word Ruin. And if so, that kills off his Twilight Runner.
Yeah. Nope.
Hex.
Takes the Hex.
That's not terrible. He's going to have to run. And it's going to put him at full hand.
So he needs to play something or burn a card. Envoy. Okay.
If he picks wrong, he might pick wrong on purpose. He didn't get the card. Yeah, he probably picked wrong on purpose. Here we go. So, Kael'Thas, Innervate, Bog Beam on the Zephrys.
And
then we can do a free overflow.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got to get going because I've had this rope tear me up.
Me too.
Get anything big. An overflow again.
Yeah.
So nature studies. Lightning bloom.
What do you think about
Force of nature?
That's kind of what I was thinking.
I don't hate it. Let's take it.
Then Bog Beam, the 2/2, and
I know I want to get the reduction value.
Okay.
So I'm gonna
nature studies again.
Nature studies.
Quickly.
All growth.
Yeah.
That. Then Bog Beam, Law Growth, Overflow.
Yep.
And then I'm taunting up one of the treants.
Okay.
Oh, I wasn't fast enough. I was going to try to just play anything in Survival of the Fittest.
Yeah, we can play it next turn.
Hopefully. Hopefully we have this board. If not, we have you, Sarah. We can just get a board full of dragons if he finds a way to clear this. And that's the thing that gets me. I was playing, I think it was Edelweiss, and the rope just killed me. Okay.
You're going to run both minions in to clear?
Do we win? 8, 10, 18. No, that's 18. No, I think we win. Okay. So we play Ysera, Broomstick. We're going to take some...
Hang on. Wait.
We got this.
Okay.
Pretty sure we do.
Okay.
Lightning Bloom into excess mana. This is going to take a while because of the animations. I think we got this. Hero power. That clears there. Go face. Go face. I think we are off by.
I would say, I'm assuming you played the other Survival of the Fittest before you attacked, because I'm not seeing it on my side yet.
Yes. But I think we're still short, but we're in a great position. We got him at 3. Of course, all of our stuff is gone.
Right.
If he's got a board clear, we're... Well, no, we got Waxadread. And we're still going to get Waxadread. I may not have needed to play the Ysera, but... So we played the big boy. If he has the 3-mana spell that, or the 1-mana spell that makes everything 1 attack, that's the punish here.
Mm-hmm.
Earlier I was...
Did he get that Shadow Word Ruin off of something?
Yes.
Okay.
He got it off of Zephyrs.
Oh, okay. That was the card. Okay. Soul Mirror.
So that's not happening now.
Yeah.
See what we get out of this. Okay, he's seeing if what pops out of it he can kill.
And he can. And that's it.
Yeah, we're out of tools.
We're dead in the water. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I might have not needed to commit that Ysera. I think that might have been where I made the mistake. I should have just played the broom and then done the stuff to to be able to play the what's it face the survival of the fittest,
right?
And then next turn after he dealt with the board, I should have Ysera, and then I would have more drag. Yeah, that was a mistake. Yeah. Again, I'm still learning with this deck.
Right. All right, guys, that's going to do it for us this week. If you have any questions or comments about the show, please email us at heropowerpodcast@gmail.com. Hit that subscribe button below on YouTube if you haven't done so to give us a follow and be alerted when we post new videos. For more details about our Patreon, head on over to patreon.com/heropower. Until next week. Good gaming.
Bye, guys.